Hi, everyone. Welcome to this month's Q&A for the Profiler Training Certification course. My name is Joel Markwitt. I'm here with Antonia Dodge, and this is your Q&A for the month. As people are preparing their questions for us for this month, I just want to let you know we just got done with our workshop that we just had last week. We had several of you come out to Philadelphia, Pennsylvania for a live workshop session, which I thought it was fantastic. It went really well. We got to do a lot of hands-on learning, a lot of workshop environments, not a lot of stage presentation, but a lot of sitting across from each other, practicing our profiling sessions and getting real world feedback from other students and from Antonia, myself, and Kimberly. And it was a really good experience. We got to bring some guests in and get some practice on live guinea pigs, quote unquote.
Yeah.
We got to practice there, and everybody got to see you, Antonia, do a live session with another guest of ours in front of the whole audience. So we also got to do a passive profiling session when we watched a movie the one night.
Yeah. Well, and I think we broke the seal for some people. They did their first live profiling session with a stranger, a lot of people.
Yes.
And so what was nice is that the feedback was that as soon as that happened, suddenly it didn't become intimidating anymore. And that was nice. That was delightful.
Yeah. And I love the fact that we live a life where not just the students that came were awesome, but the guests that came to be profiled Saturday morning were amazing people too. In fact, I ended up running late to one of the meetings because I was out hanging out with all the people that weren't even our students that just came.
Yeah.
They're high caliber people. I was like, these guys are awesome. These people are amazing. I ended up just chilling with them for a while, like all of us did, but it was just really fun to connect with other people that are part of the tribe, basically, that aren't actually students yet. Some of the people said next time around, they actually want to join the program because of what they saw live on the ground. So if you haven't had a chance to come to the workshop live, I encourage you, if you're listening to this recording, find out when the next one is and get yourself there.
Yeah. Well, and if you did go to the live event and you happen to be on the Q&A tonight, if you feel moved to talk about your experience at some point, it doesn't have to be immediately, but it's just some point, I think that would be good for other students so that they could determine whether or not going to a live event is a smart decision for them to make.
Yeah. The entire weekend was fabulous, Rachel says.
Oh, awesome.
In the chat.
Cool.
Let's open this up for question and answer. This is the time when, having gone through the program, we're all different paces. We're all at different schedules. Some of us learn faster than others. Some of us have more time than others. Some of us get stuck on one thing. Others of us get stuck on something else. So this is your chance to refine your process, to ask questions that's not in the content maybe, or it's in the content, but you need some more nuanced understanding. You need some more, you're grappling with something. And one of the quick frameworks that I love to use for this, you can use it, mileage may vary, but one of the quick frameworks is just ask yourself before you come to one of these calls, what have I been working on since the last time we talked, about a month ago? What will I be working on? What am I going to be focusing on in my education about profiling between now and the next time we talk, in about the next month? And then what challenges do I have, or what obstacles are coming up against? So what have you been working on? What will you be focused and working on? And then what challenges are coming up? And that's a great 3-set question to ask yourself when you come to these Q&As to help you frame better questions so that we can get you the answers you need from the community and from us. So let's jump right into questions. Who wants to go first? Who has a burning question? If you're the first one up, you can feel free just to unmute yourself and speak out your name and let us know you're there. And we'll jump right into the question you have. If you have a written question, you can put it in. My preference is you talk live on the air because then we get more nuance around it. But feel free to jump in. And also, while people are formulating their questions, because sometimes it takes a minute, especially if this is you remembered this all of a sudden and joined the call, someone else that might want to talk about the weekend, that's also welcome. Right now would be a good time as people are gathering their questions together for the next 90 minutes.
So Rachel's on the call, and so I thought I heard Liz.
Liz is on as well. I forgot where Liz was from, and we had a big back and forth.
Salem, right?
You remembered. Good. Cheers.
Well, it was the city my mom was born in, so it makes it a little easier.
There you go.
Yeah. If either of you feel moved to unmute yourself and talk about your experience of the weekend, that would be nice.
Put you on the spot.
It's Liz. I'm unmuted.
Hi, Liz.
Hi. I'm driving right now. I'm taking my daughter to her softball game, but yes, it was more than I could have hoped for. Honestly, I learned more than I even expected to. And honestly, if you next time you guys do this, anyone has the opportunity to go, it is way more than worth it.
Awesome. Thank you. I think actually a highlight was hanging out with Liz for me. Being able to hang out. Like I just enjoyed it. Yeah.
Well, the feeling is mutual.
Awesome.
Very cool.
Therese is here as well.
Oh, Therese, awesome. So, we just as a little note, we have a little one who might pop in every once in a while, and we've got to do the Q&A, bud. All right, I'll see you in just a moment. All right, so this is the Piper's almost 5, and so we're trying to see what we can do in the evenings to see if we can like use the TV as a babysitter, but she might pop in every once in a while. So, Teresa or Rachel, would you also be willing to give your feedback on the weekend? I mean, you might say something pretty similar to Liz, or maybe you won't say anything similar to Liz. Maybe you'll be like, it was terrible, but I don't think so, because I think we all had a pretty good time. And I'm not sure if either Rachel or Teresa. Oh, there we go.
Is that working?
I hear the sultry tones of Rachel.
Aha. So... And you were brave enough to invite me on.
I know, right? It's always
it is a risk. My roommate in college said the only 4-letter word I don't know is tact. And I thought she was pretty spot on. So no, but it was a fabulous weekend. I had a great time. I learned so much just about everybody there as people. It was so fulfilling. It was wonderful.
Awesome. Very cool. And I think you were one of the people who broke the seal on doing a live profiling session on a stranger, right?
Actually, no. No, I did my husband first because I wanted to do the full format of, the structure of an actual interview, and he gamely played along with me, which was really awesome. It was a good experience for me, and I actually did try to profile. I mean, he's known what he was since I met him. Mm-hmm. But I looked for it, and you could see him he was surprising himself with as he talked. He's like, yeah, because he knows the functions and everything, and he was hearing it come out of his own mouth. So it was a really fun experience. And because I knew what he was going to be, I know we're talking about strangers. I'll get back there. I was really well prepped on his explanation. So he actually heard stuff he hadn't quite heard that way before. So it was actually very helpful. He enjoyed it a lot. But after that, I did 2 complete strangers that he works with. Oh. Because they had been having like an they were having trouble communicating effectively at work, and it had been an ongoing long-term problem, and my husband had been talking to them about this stuff because he was kind of recognizing there was a miscommunication by function kind of thing happening. So I dove right, when I decided to dive in, I dove right in. Because these people wanted help. Yeah, I did. So that was pretty cool.
I didn't realize that. So when you did your first, like after your first session, which was your husband, your intimate, then you did 2 strangers and then helped them coach through communication issues.
Yeah. And it went really well. They both of them were so thrilled to actually understand who they were. Like light bulbs were going off all over the place for both of them, and they really, both of them felt better about themselves and each other, and they were smoothly. They had been working together for 14 years and cared about each other, but basically an ISTJ boss with an ISFJ underling. They were trying to make him be more effective and aggressive in meetings and make it happen, and it just wasn't happening. Yeah. But he was the nicest guy in the world, and nobody could do anything but want to help him. So he in particular, when he found out what harmony was and that he has that, he was so happy. He was so much more settled with himself. He ended up changing jobs, which kind of solved the problem on both sides, but he did it from a place of actually knowing who he was. He picked a job that was more suited to him. Yeah. And he was really happy. He called like everyone in the company to say goodbye and explain he was going to miss them. So it really worked out nicely.
That's awesome. Wow. Yeah. Very cool. Very cool. I hadn't heard that experience from you.
Well, I was busy spewing off all this other crap, but I had some. So no, that went really well. But I loved the experience in the room, and I was pretty nervous, but it went all right.
That's awesome. Well, thank you for sharing both your experience at the live event, but also of diving into the deep ends. I think that's a really good. That's emboldening for people to hear that.
Well, cool.
Even early on in a person's experiences, they can dive into the deep end and have some good results.
Yeah, it was awesome. I even went, they had me come back and I sat down with the two of them and my husband and we talked about together the decision-making functions just to open that up to the discussion so that so they would talk to each other, and it was a really neat meeting and we were there for like 2 hours.
Cool. Very cool. All right.
Yeah,
Thank you so
good
much,
stuff.
Rachel. Yeah, very good stuff.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it.
Cool. So, somebody else?
Oh.
Yeah, I was gonna say, hey guys, it's Susan. I'm here too. I'm just on my phone, not on Skype, so you wouldn't necessarily see my name. So hi.
Hi, Susan.
I thought I'd share. Hey, I thought I'd share a little bit about my experience of the weekend, because for me it was honestly life changing. I mean, the embodying the different cognitive functions was amazing, and doing a profiling session of someone else was a big step for me, because it was actually my first one. I'd never really done a profiling session. I just talked to friends kind of informally. So that was a big deal. But what really was life changing for me was that, Antonio, you did a profiling session of me at lunch, and you profiled me as a different type than I thought I was, and that I had been living, for many months now, and really kind of embodying that type. And, I want to really credit Kimberly for suggesting that I was that type first. And then after you had done that profiling, honestly, I was really upset. I felt very disoriented and confused, and like my identity was confused. I didn't really know who I was, and I that night I cried and cried and cried in the hotel by myself. After I went upstairs, and I really felt almost like there was this small death of my ego. I'm sure I still have my ego, but some part of my ego kind of died, and so I've been sitting with that new type and listening to podcasts about it and understanding it, and it's hard to say, but I feel like there's this part of me that was a stranger to myself all my life, and I'm meeting that person for the first time, and it's such a relief. It's like that this type that you typed me as fits right for me. It feels right, and it explains so much about myself, and I feel like I can relax into myself so much more deeply, and I have such a deeper acceptance of myself and who I am, and I feel like I love and like myself more, and I'm nicer to myself and nicer to others, by relaxing into that type and understanding myself more. And so for me, it was just like transformational. So thank you for that.
You just basically, you just outlined why this has been so important to me. Like why everything, basically the summation of why Personality Hacker exists. You just explained it. And first of all, I'm incredibly honored to be a part of your journey. Super, almost, but not quite speechless. I am me, so I'm never speechless, but almost. I just, I'm really, no, thank you. Thank you for expressing that. I very much so.
Thanks, Antonia.
I'm so glad that as you're resting into this new type, because of course you get to ultimately decide your best fit type, but as you're resting into it, you feel a sense of liberation. That's what I'm reading from you. You had a bit of an ego death, but now it sounds like something got resurrected in its place.
Yeah, I really do. I almost feel like all my life I was having to prove, I don't know, having to prove something, and now I feel like I don't have to prove anything anymore. Like having to prove how big and powerful I was, and now it's like I can just be like, yeah, I can be big and powerful, but I don't have to show it to everyone.
Yeah.
You know, I just like rest into it and know that, hey, that's there for me when I want to access it. I can, and I can bring it out in a really loving way, in a really supportive way of others, and use that power that I feel it inside of myself, that I can harness, and I can be really gentle about it because I recognize it and I know it's there.
Yeah. Yeah, truly. No, yeah, you are a powerhouse, and you are also extremely kind. And I think, is it okay if I reveal which type? I'm sure people are wondering.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you had your best fit type before was INTJ, and after our conversation, I suggested maybe playing around with ENTJ. And I think one of the stereotypes we have about ENTJs is that they're not kind, right? Like they run over the top of people, they get what they want, they're constantly in motion. And I personally, I think that stereotype is total bullshit. But I think you're such an excellent example of somebody who is a very kind ENTJ. And I could see how there might be some difficulty resonating or identifying with some of the profiles or like some of the descriptions of people of that type. But I'm sure you identify with all the other parts of it, the industriousness, the getting things done, the, ability to have the foresight and all that stuff. But yeah, when you say that you have that power there, but you also can use it in service and you can be kind, like all of those, that was my experience of you that weekend. All of that.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Truly, thank you. Thank you for coming on and being willing to share that.
Absolutely. Big hugs, big hearts.
Yeah, big hugs, virtual ones, but cheers.